the organization shall A, react to that non-conformity as applicable. What do you do when you are reacting? You take action to control and correct it. Take immediate action to control and correct it. 2, deal with the consequences, whatever has arisen as a result of that non-conformity. What has it caused? What has it done? What damage or improvement has it done to deal with those consequences? And then B, evaluate the need for action to eliminate the causes of the non-conformity in order that it does not recur or occur elsewhere, anywhere in the system. You have to eliminate that action, whatever has caused it, and then you move on. Then how do you do that? You review and analyze the non-conformity that has been issued, and then you determine the causes of the non-conformity, what caused it, right? And then after that, then you determine if similar non-conformities are existing anywhere in the system, anywhere in the process, or in the system, or in the company, or whatever we are looking at, and then see whether it could potentially occur. Then C, implement any action that is needed. Any action that is needed to be done, you implement it. D, review the effectiveness of any corrective action taken. Update the risk and opportunities determined during planning, if necessary. And F, make changes to the quality management system if necessary. Corrective actions shall be appropriate to the effects of the non-conformities encountered. That is what determines the type of corrective action that you will do. 10.2.2, the organization shall retain documented information as evidence. That is very important because we want to make sure that it does not occur. So it is a reference. A, the nature of the non-conformities and any subsequent actions that were taken. Then, what are the results of any of the corrective actions that have been taken? Then, what is a non-conformity? I want to believe that, yes, some of us are conversant with non-conformity, especially those working in organizations that are certified already, and it's a continual process. Fine. But for the benefit of people that are interested, just like Mr. Noro has said, right, what we call non-conformity, it is a non-compliant with the requirements of the standard. The standard that I've just read a portion of it out, and the standard that it has 10 areas. We know that the standard is made up of 10 clauses. From 4 to 7 has to do with the plan, which is the planning we are talking about. The clause 8 operations is the do, and the clause 9 is performance evaluation, right? And then clause 10 is improvement. So anything that has to do that is not complying with any of what the standard is saying, in any of the clauses, the requirements of it, it's a non-conformity. Then when your practice is not in line with the intent, one of the key words in quality management system is quality objective, right? You have an objective, there's an intent, there's something you are planning, there's something that has been documented that we need to achieve. And then the practice you are putting on is not in line with what you said you want to achieve. Then a non-conformity will arise, right? Then when your practice, what you are doing, when it's not even effective, you are not getting results. You keep repeating what you're doing, right? Which costs money. You keep wasting time, and time is money, and you're just not getting it. It's not effective. Then when it's audited and it's looked into the way you are doing things, and it's not effective, when that practice is not effective, then a non-conformity arises. A non-conformity, it could be a minor non-conformity or a major non-conformity, depending on the strength or how it occurred. Minor non-conformities. What is a minor non-conformity? It's isolated witnessed incident of failure to comply with a procedure or requirements of the standard. Yes, organization puts their procedures in place. That is what the standard says. Organization, for a non-conformity to arise, the organization, this is how we want to be doing our thing. We have documented it, what we call SOP, standard operating procedures, or work instructions that you put in place, right? And those things are documented and you have it written down, and it's what we get reference. It helps to know whether you are complying or you are in line or not. So organization has their own SOP, standard operating procedures, which they put in place. You have said that this is how I want to be doing this thing, that will make things comfortable, that will make my customers to be happy, that will make other interested parties and including work for everything to move smoothly. You have documented it as an organization, right? If there's a failure in what you have documented that you will be doing, you are the one that said you'll be doing it, and then you're not doing it, then the non-conformity will arise, right? Or if the standard from clause 4 to clause 10 are not complied with, if there's a failure in what the standard requires of you, the ISO 9001 2015 international standard, if any of those clauses is violated, then a non-conformity arises. Also, there are improvement potentials, which we call opportunity for improvements, which, while a previous audit, whether it's internal or certification audit, first party, second party, or even third party audit, and improvements, opportunity for improvement were identified by the auditor and was pointed out to the organization from previous assessment or from previous audits, and they were not evaluated. They were not evaluated, they were not addressed, and it has blossomed into something. Once it is identified, it will be classified as a non-conformity. That means opportunities for improvement that are not addressed can graduate into a non-conformity, and it's a minor non-conformity. Major non-conformities, why is it a major? A significant non-compliance of one or more requirements of the standard. A significant non-compliance of one or more requirements of the standard. For example, the standard says in clause 5.2 that an organization should have a quality policy in place. How you want to do, who are we? How do you want to do it? Quality policy in place. An organization that does not have a documented quality policy in place has not started. So that's a major one. You have not started. So those are now, another one is if a failure of a complete system, if nothing is working, you look at each of those processes, they are not working. This one is not working. That one is not working. There's no synergy. You know, the internal customers, people, and everybody just doing what it likes, and the results are not there. It's a failure of a complete system. That's a major non-conformity. And then if you have significant quantity of minor failures, minor non-conformities to the requirements of the standard, you pick it here, you go to a process, you see a non-conformity, you move to another department or another, you see the same non-conformity, right? The same thing, address the same thing, take a sample of about 4 or 5 processes, and it's the same thing. So those are minor failures. You can put them together and it becomes a major non-conformity. Just come and say, this is a major one, because if you allow it to go on like that, it's going to affect the system, and a failure of a complete system may arise. And then number 4 is when a minor non-conformity from a previous assessment, maybe notice at the initial certification or a surveillance audit, right? And there are minor, even our internal audits that we do amongst ourselves within the organization. And a minor non-conformity was identified, it was issued, and has not been corrected. It was not looked into, it's still left there hanging. And the auditor comes around to that particular process and still find it there, right? then it may be classified as a major non-conformity. Now, what is a correction? Once a non-conformity is addressed, the auditee or the process owner sees it and takes an immediate action to halt the witnessed failure. That is, we've seen this thing. This is not right. It is not what we wrote down that we'll be doing as an organization, or what the standard says we should do. We discover that it is not, and the auditor points it out immediately there. The first thing the auditor does, or the organization does, is that just halt it. You stop doing it the way you're doing it because it's not in line with what you have planned, and that is correction. Put a correction in place to halt it. You put a correction in place. That is the first action that is taken. That is why it's called a correction. Now, what is a corrective action? A corrective action is a plan that you put in place. Even after doing an immediate correction, then you now put plans in place to address the failures in order to comply with the requirements or the organization's laid down procedures itself. That is the SOP or the work instructions, right? We'll put plans. What am I going to do to make sure that these things are not? What plans am I going to do? Do I need training? Does it mean that there are certain things that are not properly documented? Does it mean that there are things that we're supposed to check that we did not check? What we are supposed to put in place that we didn't put in place? Those are the plans, and then they are set out that this is the action that we need. Those plans, when they are laid out, the way they are going to do, that is the corrective action. The corrective actions are plans that you put in place. Then correction and corrective action. Correction and corrective action. When we put correction in place, after it has been identified, now we will now look at it in planning a corrective action. What exactly caused it? What led to that mistake, if you call it, or what led to that failure? You have to brainstorm and look at it. You look at what you're doing. Look at the way you've been doing it. Look at the PDCA, the cycles. What did I say I was going to be doing? And check it and see, am I doing it or not? What is also important is for us to know what to do. Yes, a corrective action is a non-conformity has been issued, and you look at it. Usually, the auditee or the person or the department or process where that failure has been identified to know what to do. The first thing is that you know what to do. In some instances, in my experience, I've discovered that yes, probably it was maybe due to one careless or one omission or one nonchalant or attitudinal, or probably the auditee does not even know what to do. Maybe he doesn't have the basic understanding of the requirements of the standard. Maybe he doesn't have the basic understanding of the SOP that is even holding, right? So when knowing what to do, when you know what to do, then it becomes easy to be able to put a corrective action plans in place and admit whether there are errors, whether the mistakes from me, whether the failure are caused by me or maybe some team, and then the team comes together and then you lay out those things. While planning the corrective action, it is important to do a root cause analysis. That is a root cause identification. You know what to do. Do a root cause analysis. And what do we mean by root cause analysis? By looking at what led to it, that failure. After all efforts are put in place, why this failure again? Then you start brainstorming and start looking at it. The 5 whys techniques could be used, to discover the root cause. And how does this 5 whys? We ask people, just continue to ask why. Just like the statement I've been making. Why did this happen? Why should this one be? Why? By the time you ask, after identifying the problem, and then you start asking the why, we start writing down when you answer your why, by the time you ask 5 times why, then you delve deep into the underlying cause of that problem, and then it becomes easier for you to lay down the corrective action and put the plans in place. Then, how do we manage the non-conformity? How do you manage the non-conformity? Usually, even when a non-conformity arises, these are opportunities to add value. These are opportunities to learn more. These are opportunities to even know more. So once the non-conformity has been identified, there shouldn't be any shock about it. Sometimes I even joke, right, to say that, okay, when an audit is carried out, whether internal, external, or first party, second party, or third party, and there are no non-conformity in it, well, that means we are perfect, 100%. There's nothing more to do. No, the standard says that you will have to continually improve. You understand? Even when there are no conformities. But when there are non-conformities, it's not a sin. It's just an opportunity for improvement. And you look at it, accept that, yes, this thing has come. What do we do with it, right? So now, when it occurs, you look at it and make sure that it does not recur again. What do we do to prevent a recall? That is why we do the correction first, put the corrective actions in place, right? Using root cause analysis, right? And once that one is put in place, and then you make sure put an eye on it so that it does not occur. If it will occur, it means we have not learned anything from the non-conformity. So we have to add. So once it does not occur and it continues, value has been added, even if it has to do. Then it has to do with our third party, any of our third parties, the workers, fellow employees, or even the customer, which is the key. The customer which is out there, right? To make the customer happy, we don't want the customer to complain. And that is why it's always good to do a feedback, get back to your customer. How do you feel? What we have given to you, did you find it useful? There are things, and those are areas. So that is the first thing in management. Then number 2 is to create awareness. Once you have done that, yes, create awareness, ensure that everybody knows what has happened that has to do with the system, admit, and then you move on to it. Awareness, those are things that will ensure that it does not recur, right? When it's not hidden, when it comes into open and awareness, and people learn from it, it leads, even some of this, it leads to new discoveries, leads to new market, leads to new products, right? Leads to new opportunities. So awareness is key. And then when you have process owners meeting, process owners discussions amongst parties, it becomes a way of life, right? Number 3 is to communicate as necessary to all related processes. Anyone that has to do with it, anyone that has to do that is related to that non-conformity that has been identified across the organization, it needs to know so that at least they will learn from it and continue to put an eye on it and create opportunity for improvement, right? If it is necessary, right, as a result of it, training can be organized for better understanding so that everything will be on the tips of the finger. And even when before it gets into failure stage, when the thing is looking like that, a member of the team or within the organization can call attention to it. So it's good to have a better understanding through training, awareness training to understand what the requirements of the standards is, right? A continual training, departmental meetings, and process talks, and all of those things. And then while doing this one, opportunities can also come up. Lessons learned can be shared, and improvement can come into place. Another thing that is key in non-conformity management is management reviews. Management reviews are mandatory. They are requirements of the standard. under performance evaluation, 9.3, right? 9.3 talks about management review meeting. It shall be determined. The organization shall say when you want to be holding your management reviews meeting. It's good. The organization determines how many times you want to do it as it's relevant to you, right? It's good to look at it because management review meetings, it will strengthen the actions that are taken. There are some non-conformities that will require management decision. There are some non-conformities that will require approval of resources for that action. There are some decisions that will, in trying to manage the non-conformity, there are decisions that management needs to take. Well, training is going to cost money. And how can you spend money? Before you spend money, you need management approval. You need to change equipment. You need to recalibrate. You need to put certain things in place. Yes, it requires management. Those are outputs that come out, especially issues that has to do with the customer, right? And then after that, we ensure continual improvement. You will continue to improve on what you've done. Like I said, the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act. Act is improvement, right? And you continue to, even if you've done it very well, you want to improve on what you have done. You want to continue to improve on it. If you've not done it very well, it remains small, you look at it, address it, and look at it again. Plan, do, check, and act on it. Thank you very much. I think I've been able to in a few words, explain what non-conformity management is all about. Thank you very much, Adobe. I think that's the end of my talk. Now, we can now start discussing as a family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ada, are you there? I like that somebody's already clapping. Can we just please clap electronically for our guest speaker, Mr. Adekoje? Thank you so much, sir. I can see claps and people are showing appreciation.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure.
All right, so this is Q&A time. We have a few minutes left before 11. If you have a question, you can either type or raise your hand to, okay, Ada, are you back to coordinate the Q&A?
Please, I carry on, but I've been in all this while.
Ada, you are muted.
Hello, sir. I said you can carry on, but
we can hear you.
all this
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes,
okay.
I said you can carry on, sir.
All right, okay, fine. So anybody has a question, please, so that we can, you can either type it in the chat or you can raise your hand and we'll identify you to take your question. Anybody?
Okay, Larry, I can see your question asking if we won't be sharing the slides. However, the recorded version of the class will be available on our YouTube channel, and we'll be sharing
someone is asking,
the link to that channel to you.
Yes, it will be available on the YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this? Please don't forget to leave your name and phone number, contact details. Okay, Mr. Adekoje, I think you've done a very good job. There are no questions, but of course, if there are questions subsequent, we would reach out to you and share the information with you. Thank you so much, Mr. Adekoje.
All right.
And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this session of, Ada, please share our YouTube channel. Somebody's asking for that. Can you please share your YouTube channel? Yes. Can you please share our YouTube channel now so they can just see it
everybody via email.
and copy it? Yeah. So you have this session will be available on our YouTube channel shortly. We just need to edit it a bit and we'll put it out there. So we look forward to engaging with you. Please feel free to contact us, you know, if you need any information, any assistance, either to kickstart your certification process. If you're having challenges with what you have existing, we'll be glad to support you. And of course, we run trainings, you know, internal auditor training, lead auditor trainings, etc., etc. We'll be glad to work with you in any of these spaces and capacities. Thank you so much. All right, Ada, can you put a channel before we close out finally? Please just give us a moment to get the channel for you.
A word I would just like to put in, let us make quality management system a way of life. It's quite interesting.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get the website for you. Right. Okay. All right. I mean, we will send it to everybody. I mean, we have all your details. You registered. So you will hear from us with the link for the website. All right. Let's see if we can get it quickly. Sorry, I had a network outage for a moment. But anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We will forward the website address to you subsequently. Yes, we will share it with you subsequently. Thank you so much. You'll hear from us again for our next KSS, which will be the last Thursday of August by the grace of God. Thank you, everybody, and bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.